Joined by Operation Dudula's organizational leader, Zandile Dudula, of course, having announced that the organization will launch a campaign at the end of December 2025 as it continues into the first week of January 2026. And this campaign is aimed at preventing foreign children, particularly those without legal documentation, from enrolling in public schools in South Africa. Of course, Equal Education and Equal Education Law Centre are pushing back, calling the proposed campaign a violation of South Africa's constitution and a precedent-setting High Court ruling. But
guys, how is it possible that we find ourselves in this position? How is it possible that South Africans are not outraged by these treasonous acts of this incompetent and corrupt government? Because I remember 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, the MMC or the MEC of Education in Gauteng, he was lecturing South African parents and telling South African parents that, guys, if you want your child to be enrolled into schools, you need to make sure that you have the documents. You need to make sure that your documents are in order if you want your child to have a space in a particular school. But the same government is telling South African taxpayers that the children of undocumented foreign nationals will be enrolled into schools without providing any documentation. And somehow they expect the people of this country to sit down and understand that. How? How? How is it possible that South African parents are told straight up that if you don't have the documents that are needed, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to enroll your child into a school? But somebody that is not even supposed to be here, undocumented foreign nationals, the people that are committing a crime by simply being in this country, they are being told that no, you can enroll your child into a school and you don't even have to provide any documentation. You know, this is a policy. This is something that has been made into a law by a president of a political party that claims to love black people and to have the interest of black people at heart. This is a policy that is supported by political parties that are claiming to love black people and to have the interest of black people at heart. But if you look at what is happening, this thing is going to affect, majority of the people that are going to be affected by this thing are poor black people. Because now, South Africans that cannot afford to take their children into private schools, they are now being told that your children will have to fight for a space in school with undocumented foreign nationals. The same way, South African taxpayers that cannot afford the private healthcare, they are being told that no, you will have to fight for a hospital bed with an illegal immigrant. How is it fair on South Africans? How is that fair on South Africans? How? And we are being told that no, a child has died because Operation Dudula allegedly blocked the entrance of this mother, and now Operation Dudula is trying to go against the children. What is Operation Dudula's obsession with hurting children? This is the narrative that the mainstream media and these political parties on the left, they are coming with. And this is just to show you how despicable and evil these people are, for the fact that these people are willing to use their children. They are willing to use children to fight these political wars. It just shows you how evil and despicable these people are. It is not fair to expect South Africans to fight for school placement with the illegal foreigners. It is not fair to expect South Africans to stand in long queues with illegal foreigners. It is not fair. We don't have enough resources as things are in this country. And it is impossible for us to cater for everybody that's in this country. It is only South Africa where we are expected to do this. I don't think right now I can go to Zimbabwe and demand free healthcare in Zimbabwe. It is not going to fly. Right now, I cannot go to Nigeria and enter into that country illegally and expect the Nigerian government to take care of me. They are going to deport me. But somehow, South Africans are being told that no, You have to take it. You have to take care of these people. And if it means we're going to have to charge you more for taxes, this is exactly what we are going to do. It is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. These politicians that are pushing for these radical policies, their children are not going to be affected by these policies that they are advocating for. And this is something that the supporters of these politicians and these political parties actually struggle to understand. That when somebody like Julius Malema says there is nothing wrong with the schools enrolling the children of undocumented foreign nationals, Julius Malema doesn't care because his children don't have to go into public schools. Him, as a parent, he doesn't have to worry with the fact that my child is in a class with a child that they cannot even pronounce the name of. He does not even have to be worried about that because his children are in private schools or his children are in overseas. Julius Malema, when he says that the healthcare facilities in this country, they must take care of everybody. It doesn't matter if you are an illegal foreigner in this country. It does not apply to him because he has the medical aid. This guy, whenever he needs medical attention, he will go to the private hospitals where they are not where they are not disturbed. And don't you find it weird that these politicians that expect South Africans to open up their communities to accommodate the illegal foreigners are living in gated communities where illegal foreigners cannot even enter, where even South Africans cannot even enter? You know, the politicians in this country, they like to tell us about Orania. We hate Orania because Orania, they don't want black people to come in, and it is unfair for Orania to do that to black people. Guys, where politicians live, as a black South African, you will not even be able to enter where these people live. These people live in gated communities where you will find securities at every entrance. These people are living in their own Oranias, but at the same time, they are criticizing Orania. So they don't have to deal with any of these things that they are advocating for. And I don't understand why the supporters of these politicians and these political parties cannot understand that. That's why every time I will say that all of these politicians that are advocating for illegal immigration in this country, I am calling for these politicians to open up their garages and host these illegal immigrants in their garages. They will never do that. These people are living in areas where you, as a South African, you will not even be able to enter. Never mind the illegal foreigners. These people are advocating for the illegal foreigners to be given the healthcare in this country. They know that it does not impact them because when they need medical attention, they will go to the private hospitals. You remember Ramaphosa during the National Convention. One of the questions that Ramaphosa asked was, why don't the clinics have medication? And South Africans were furious to say, how is it possible that the president of a political party that has collapsed the borders can have the audacity to stand in front and tell us and ask us, why don't the clinics have medication? You know that you have opened the borders for everybody to come into this country. And this is the reason why we don't have the medication. You know that our public healthcare institutions are overburdened. You know for a fact that we don't have enough nurses, we don't have enough doctors. But somehow you are expecting those people with limited resources to take care of everybody. The same thing with the schools. This is the same thing with the schools. I honestly do not understand how is it possible that these people are advocating for this. And these are the same people that are calling themselves black politicians from the black political parties that are claiming to have the best interest of black people at heart. How do you have the interest of black people at heart when you are not protecting black people? They are not protecting black people. I don't care what these supporters of theirs say. They are not protecting black people. They are not. They are not. The fact that we are sitting here and having a debate about the South African schools enrolling the children of undocumented foreign nationals without any documentation, it is insane. And what does it say about illegal immigration? Because when you have the parents of these children in this country, you cannot deport the parents of these children because they will say, no, I cannot go back to Zimbabwe because my child is attending school. So technically, you can never deport these people that are in the country illegally. So this is the ANC's way and the EFF's way of trying to get a new voter base. I actually believe that these political parties, they know that in this country, South Africans are fed up of them. So they will have to get their new voter base. So now they are trying to legalize the illegality. This is what is happening right now. The South African government is legalizing the illegality. And we cannot say anything as South Africans because if we dare say anything as South Africans, we are xenophobic. We are xenophobic. No, you cannot say anything because we are xenophobic. But I'm happy that South Africans are actually getting over that nonsense of being called xenophobic. South Africans are getting over feeling bad whenever they are being called xenophobic. Because we have to fight for this country. This country, it is ours. This country does not belong to any politicians. And if we don't fight for this country, then we will have nobody to blame but for ourselves. These people are already hiring these foreigners everywhere in government, in South African schools, in South African Human Rights Commission. South Africans are being replaced. In real time, we are literally watching South Africans being replaced in their own country in real time. This is what is happening. And somehow, you have these people that are supporting these kind of ideologies. You have South Africans that are unemployed, sitting at home, supporting this kind of ideologies. How?
But, let's speak now to Dudula, who joins us this evening. Zandile, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been quite the day for you. We had our reporter following you and some of the work that you're doing, going into the various schools. Talk to me about how many you've reached and what the conversations sound like when you start to speak to the leadership of these schools around what you want them to do, which is prioritize South African children.
Good evening, Naledi, and good evening to our viewers at home. Thank you so much for having us. It's been a long day.
I mean, guys, can newsroom please get rid of this watermark? Can somebody please in the newsroom get rid of this watermark, man? Every time I see these videos of newsroom, I get frustrated so much because of this watermark, and it disturbs me, man. It distracts me. Can somebody please tell these people to remove this goddamn watermark?
Good evening, Naledi, and good evening to our viewers at home. Thank you so much for having us. It's been a long day indeed. I just need us to clear the part, where it says that we are campaigning. This is our campaigning time. We've been doing these operations for the past 2 years. It's got nothing to do with campaigning for the elections, but like you correctly said, that we're putting South African kids first more than anything. I'm glad that we even decided on, having a build-up program before we get to, January 2026, because this gave us a platform to actually engage with the principals of the schools to also get an insight of what's happening. We've been to 10 schools today, and, we've been, warmly welcomed, and we engaged with the principals, and, yes, at the first school, there was a bit of a resistance because, of cameras and all that. So they are mandated not to be talking to a media. But, as the day went by, we managed to talk to deputies and some of the principals. And yes, there is an issue. And, these principals are admitting that, yes, they do have undocumented foreign children that are at their schools, because there's a law that says that they need to be given, 3 months so that they can make sure that they bring proper documents to the school. But the parents are not doing that. And, in some schools, you have a principal that, told us that she's sitting with 600 undocumented children, which 50% of those are of South Africans and 50% are foreigners. And, the departments are not doing anything. They're not helping. They've been left to see, how to go about with even the budget, because when the child is not documented, then there's no allocation of budget for that particular child. So educators are facing a challenge because you're looking at the number of children that are in classrooms. Between 50 to 60 in just one class. Now, you will not be able to even focus on the child that needs that special attention. So these are some of the challenges, but more than anything, they know that they need to make sure that they admit documented children, but the contradiction is within the department and these new laws that they're bringing, because the law states that if you are admitting a child of a foreigner, then you need to make sure that they have study visas, they have birth registrations, they are properly documented into the country, and that they have proper proof of residence or permanent residence as proof. But all of that is not happening. But because it's not up to them, it's up to the department, they would just take and admit children whether they're documented or not. But what I've been cautioning, I think I spoke to Mr. Mabona, who is the spokesperson today, that we must also, take in cognizance that we're looking at children being trafficked here, because nothing is linking the child to the parent. And if you're bringing a child that's undocumented, how do you prove that the child you're bringing to the school is really your child?
Yeah.
And how will the school even know the age? Because you're just bringing a child with no documents.
Okay,
It's
so
just
let me ask you this, Sandile.
the child is 5 years old.
Okay.
And the other thing, guys, is the issue of safety of South African children. One of the reasons why in different communities we have the schools surrounding us, it's so that the people can simply take their children to schools that are near them. But now it is not the case anymore. It is not the case anymore, because I can live here. I can have a school maybe like kilometer or 2 kilometers from where I stay. But chances are my child will not be able to be enrolled into that school. And now I will have to enroll my child into a school that is a bit far. So it also comes with a safety concern, because now we have South African parents that are concerned with the fact that, my child's school is so far. Every time when my child has to go out to the school, I am worried because their school is so far. And the reason why now they are being placed into schools that are oftentimes out of their communities is because those schools are already full. They are already full. But those schools are already full. While you as a parent, while you are busy trying to gather your papers, while you are being told that no, you don't have enough documents, the foreigners are busy pumping their children into schools. And before you even know it, your child does not have any place into the school. And now you will be told that no, be on this waiting list. And when they come back, they will tell you that, oh, I'm sorry, but you will have to take your child into a school that is so far. It also comes with the issue of safety. It comes with the issue of safety.
I'm hearing all the points. I just need to maximize on time here because we don't have a lot. Uzola spoke to an SGB chairperson at one of the schools that you were able to speak to. And this person speaking about how they feel that they, as schools themselves, are between a rock and a hard place. Because when Steve Mabona, the department, comes to speak to that SGB, they're going to say, you will abide by the Bella Act that says that no child is going to be denied an education because of a lack of documentation. So when you, as Dudula, then go into the school, what do you suggest they do? Because it feels like while this is a challenge of capacity, that from a legislative point of view, there's very little that these schools can do. So what do you put on the table?
If they have a problem of capacity, then they shouldn't be passing laws like Bella Act. They know for a fact that they have a problem with capacity. So why are they going ahead and endorsing something like the Bella Bill? South Africans, man. South Africans, I don't understand the kind of people that are being harbored in this country. Like, I don't get them. I don't get them. South Africans were supporting the Bella Act simply because the Democratic Alliance was standing against the Bella Act. A lot of black people in this country, they were saying that no, we want the Bella Act. We love the Bella Act. And when they were told that, you know, guys, there's a Bella Act that you are advocating so much for, it is saying that the children of undocumented foreign nationals will have to be enrolled in schools without providing any documentation. Then people started to lose their minds that no, we hate Bella Bill. We don't want the Bella Bill anymore. No, how can the South African government do something like that? They forget that they are the same people that has supported this bill. And this thing, it actually says a lot about South African parents and the fact that truth of the matter is that a lot of South African parents, they don't care about the education of their children. And that is the honest truth. That's why they don't care with the fact that there are no sporting facilities where their children attend schools. They don't care about the fact that their children are not into debates. They are not doing anything besides schoolwork. They don't care about the fact that there is no safety in the schools. They don't care about the fact that the government has basically tied the hands of the teachers. As we speak today, the teachers cannot even reprimand the children, because if you try to reprimand a child in school, then you will be put through the disciplinary hearing or you will be fired. So now the videos are coming out where children are taking the teachers, and there's absolutely nothing that the teachers can do, because if they try to even defend themselves, they will be told that no, you are being violent towards the children and you are teaching children violence. These are the policies that have been passed by political parties that says that they want what is best for black people. And when I come to this platform and say that none of these political parties actually have the interest of black people at heart, they say that no, Thomas Mabaso, you hate black political parties, you hate black politicians, man, you hate them. And I'm just stating the truth. I'm just stating the truth. Because now they have replaced the corporal punishment, and they replaced the corporal punishment with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And now teachers are being killed, teachers are being stabbed, children are unruly. And now the same teachers, they will have to deal with the fact that they have 100 children in class, in one class, 100 children. Tell me, how can you even maintain order in a class full of 100 children, where half of them are illegal foreigners? Tell me how you can you maintain order in that class? Man, this is a mess, man. This is a mess.
As an option for them.
So, you know, the fight here is definitely with the department, because what we're saying to them is that we want our South African kids to be prioritized. We don't want to be sitting in similar situations like the previous years where we have South African kids who are without desks and chairs, yet we have foreign children who, are privileged to have those. Now, what needs to happen here is, on the basis of having South African children documented, we are going to take it upon ourselves to make sure that we do follow up with the relevant departments. Now, that will be the Department of Basic Education and the Department of Home Affairs, because they need to help those South African kids. Now, when it comes to foreign national kids, they need, there's nothing wrong with them going to apply in the schools, in private schools, and pay for the services, because that's what needs to happen. If they have a study visa, then they need to also be able to pay for their education. I mean, their parents are working, their parents are entrepreneurs. You could hear on social media platforms how they'll be, mocking at us, telling us that we are a lazy nation. They are here to work and they are working. So, what we're suggesting to the department is that they must just make sure that all kids, foreign nationals, they need to go and be placed in private facilities, and they must pay, because here in these public facilities, it needs to be reserved for South Africans. And yes, if they are properly documented with all the requirements, which I'm talking about, your study visas and all that, then yes, but they will be last on queues and not be prioritized. So we're going to start with South African kids first, and when there is space, then we can start looking at well documented kids. But these are the conversations that we're willing to, continue with Mr. Steve, because yes, he was there. He's seen how we undertaking our operations, because we were not there to disrupt. We are sure we wanted to make sure that there is law and order, and we were just merely making sure that the school receives our list of demands, making sure that when they do admissions in the next coming year, that it's children that are well documented and South Africans are going to be prioritized.
And if you want these politicians to freak out, just say, can you just imagine if Ramaphosa says that, no, these children of undocumented foreign nationals, they need to be enrolled in these private public schools, and they don't have to provide any documentation. Then you will see the politicians losing their minds. They will lose their minds. If their children will have to be forced to get into the same class with the children that are not even documented, they will lose their minds. They will totally lose their minds. But somehow they expect the South Africans to be okay with it. I don't know, man. Like, just listen to this guy.
Of course, it is a concern because, as you know, what happened in the hospitals. But however, I want to send a very strong warning to the organization that disruptions of schools will not be tolerated. And I would advise that they go and familiarize themselves with the Bella Act around disruptions and the implications thereof of schools. That is the...
I mean, like, I don't know why these people continue to say that Operation Dudula has been disruptive in schools. Operation Dudula has not been disruptive in schools. They have not been disruptive in schools. But this is a narrative that these people are pushing. And he says that no, the disruptions will not be allowed. So if you say that the disruptions will not be allowed, what actually makes you think that the South African parents will allow you to put the children of undocumented foreign nationals ahead of their children? Because now you are telling us about the Bella Act. Nobody cares about the Bella Act. Just because Ramaphosa has signed it into a law, it does not make it right. We don't care about the Bella Act. We just want what is best for South Africa. And clearly, this idiot that is running this country does not have the best interest of this country at heart. I don't care what Ramaphosa has signed into a law.
Of course, it is a concern because, as you know, what happened in the hospitals. But however, I want to send a very strong warning to the organization that disruptions of schools will not be tolerated. And I would advise that they go and familiarize themselves with the Bella Act around disruptions and the implications thereof of schools. That is the biggest concern that we're having.
MEC, I'd like to then unpack one aspect, and you've made two known there. But one, you said it won't be tolerated, any disturbance and disruptions of schools. Does that mean you'll be looking at greater security or looking at law enforcement or legal proceedings if any of this was to disrupt schooling?
Of course, we look at, depending on the situation. But what I'm saying now is that I would want to advise Dudula to desist on their proposed action, of which will ultimately disrupt schools. They need to, as an NGO, which I believe they can play a role in assisting, to get our schools, support our schools. But in the sense of disruption, they should know that as a department, we will not hold back with regard to disruption of teaching and learning.
I mean, like, you guys there in the government, you have disrupted our lives. So what makes you think that we're not going to disrupt anything? You have already disrupted our lives. And it's funny because the same guy that is now sitting there and trying to explain why the children of undocumented foreign nationals should be enrolled in schools without providing any documentation. There's a video that people are saying that this Chilwan guy, is nothing but a hypocrite, basically. And now people are actually reminding him of what he said a couple of months ago.
Be submitted or uploaded within 7 days, as I've said earlier. And these are your ID, of the parents or guardian, or passport rather, the child's birth certificate or passport, and if you are a foreign national, we need your refugee permit, we need your asylum seeker permit, or permanent resident permit, or study permit, or parent work permit. We need your compliance document, meaning that you need to be legally in the country and you need to give us these documents. Proof of home address, or proof of work address, latest grade 7 report if your child is going to grade 8, and if your child is in grade R, going to grade 1, we'll need your clinic card or immunization report for grade 1 learner. So these are these documents.
So this is the kind of language that this charlatan was actually having. But now he says that, no, man, we no longer need these people to comply. A couple of months ago, they wanted these people to comply, to say that these are kind of documents that we want you to have if you want to enroll your child into a South African school. But now they are saying that, no, you don't have to comply anymore. We just want the South African parents to be the ones that are complying. We don't care about them. We don't care. But we love you, the illegal foreigners in this country, and we don't need you to comply. We don't need you to comply. And we are being told about Pan-Africanism, man. Pan-African my behind, guys. I don't want to lie. What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button. And the most important part is subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.